Welcome back to another video. Today we're switching things up. This one's not about crochet, but painting. Let me introduce you to Malek, a talented young lady who's always honing her skills. Recently, she shared a new video on her YouTube channel, taking us through her journey with drawing and painting. After someone asked her how she learned to draw, she decided to answer with a personal story in her video. Now, Malek's story starts from when she was just a little girl. She always had a knack for making things with her hands. Loved crafting, she did. Whatever she could find, she'd use to make something from scratch. But back then, she didn't have the proper tools to take it any further. Then, in 2019, she picked up a pencil one day and tried to draw a cartoon character just for fun, mind you. And wouldn't you know it, it turned out great. That lit a spark in her, and she started drawing more and more, even though she only knew the basics at the time. She had a pencil and some watercolors, bless her heart. She thought they were the same as gouache back then. As time passed, she got herself some sketchbooks. In fact, she even made a few of her own. And little by little, she improved. It was exciting for her, experimenting with different art supplies, watercolors, gouache, and more. But she was still just a beginner, learning her way around. Now, let me tell you, Malek was quite taken with anime. Obsessed with it, you could say, and still is. She started drawing anime characters, even though they say you should begin with anatomy and realism. But she just went for it. And you know what? It wasn't such a bad thing after all. She had fun, and she learned a lot about colors, how to mix them to get just the right shades. After a while, though, she realized that she needed to buckle down and focus on realism. So she started practicing, bit by bit. Not every drawing turned out the way she wanted, but she stuck with it. She had the right attitude, you see, faith in her process, and a determination to practice. Then came the search for her own art style. Oh, that was a tough time for her mentally. Finding your style in art takes time, you see, and she knew that. She couldn't expect to find it in a few months, nor did she want to tie herself to just one style forever. She was still figuring it out, and she knew she'd keep evolving. It was hard on her, but at the same time, she didn't give up. She kept pushing forward. Around then, Malek started learning more about art supplies, acrylics, colored pencils, gouache, which, mind you, was still quite the challenge for her, and the right types of paper for each. She's always been curious about oil paints, but hasn't tried them yet. There's time for that, I reckon. She even tried drawing with her friends, and making a small manga of her own. That one didn't quite work out. She had too many ideas bouncing around her head. But she gave it a go, and that's what matters. Malek also started creating her own paintings with backstories and emotions behind them. It wasn't easy, though, because she was still figuring out anatomy and color theory. And let me tell you, one of the hardest things she dealt with was art block. She knew she shouldn't force herself to create difficult pieces, but sometimes she couldn't help it. In the end, Malek's journey with art has been both fun and challenging. Learning to draw and paint can be stressful at times, but she understands now that it's all about practice and patience. If you don't push yourself too hard, you'll see the progress. I think the hardest part for Malek is getting the ideas from her head onto paper. Some days she has too many ideas, and other days none at all. But that's just the nature of being an artist, I suppose. Art, as she says, is a beautiful way to express emotions, whether it's happiness, anger, or something else entirely. Encourages everyone to give it a try if they're interested, and she always reminds folks that art isn't a gift or a talent. It's something you learn with practice and time. She's got a bright future ahead of her. And of course, she always ends her videos by thanking her viewers and promising to see them in the next one.